See, crypto hedge fund Three Arrows Capital fell into liquidation and Bitcoin slipped briefly below $19,000. The global cryptocurrency market cap fell to $870 billion, decreasing more than 2%. And we have been seeing this quite often now. You had Terra first, then Celsius, then US Fed rate hike, and the latest is this Three Arrows Capital. Now, there are growing worries about recession. Stability of the crypto sector is also being questioned. How does one handle this turbulence? We'll go to our experts, and they have 3 points each for you to probably have a strategy. This is in no way a financial advice, but this is a better way to handle the turbulence. We have with us Pranav Sharma, founding partner, Woodstock Fund, a fund that invests in early stage of blockchain startups. And we also have Rohas Nagpal, chief blockchain architect of Hi-Fi Blockchain. But we'll come to each one of you individually. We'll begin with Pranav. Pranav, what is your 3-point guide?
So thank you very much, Arun. I think so. First thing is what happened with Three Arrow Capital is essentially a testimony that excess leverage and I think being ahead of the market and market underlying being extremely volatile can actually be a big challenge in many ways. So let's say when every individual is looking at participating in a market, and as any market has its own characteristic. The first point is always about that markets are always cyclical. So there are bull markets, there are bear markets, and there are always consolidation, that happens in the markets. So focus on value, focus on solid companies, protocols at the right price that continue to build. So the key word in double inverted quotes and double underline is build. Those projects, those protocols which are building are the ones which will create tremendous value, solving the right problems. There is also a lot of gunpowder which is waiting on the sides, which will invest when things bottom out. And as Aruni was hinting at, the macro is not supportive, whether it's 75 basis points or 100 basis points in the next 2-3 months. Only Fed will decide this. But having said that, as the pain continues, we'll see that the market at some point will bottom out. The second point is that, understand market dynamics. Don't try to time the markets. It's very important to understand the macro. It's very important to understand the Bitcoin. Bitcoin is still the dominant force in blockchain / crypto arena. So Bitcoin, Ethereum, and various others are extremely highly correlated. So understand the various cycles, halving, what's happening in terms of, various miners, what's the kind of stress they are experiencing at this point when it is sub $20,000. So the miners are even mentioning about Bitcoin touching even $12,000, etc. A lot of mid-sized miners are facing a lot of stress, and that usually is a bottom in many ways. The third thing is micro, which is basically looking at the underlying in terms of what problem is being solved, what's happening, etc. Under the hood in terms of these protocols and various technology stacks which are getting built. The third thing would be focus on governance. I think governance is something which was completely missed out in the previous cycle. I think the technology building blocks sort of came together. Liquidity pathways also came together. But I think the governance is what has been, in my opinion, the single most important theme which will emerge. Both governance in the context of financial institutions, which includes Three Arrow Capital, for example, is also a question mark here about risk management, governance, etc. But also in terms of, can you focus a lot more on as an individual investor, let's say self-governance? Can you focus on being a lot more disciplined rather than focusing on timing the markets? Can you focus a lot more on, I'm just saying, taking some time off and, focusing on things which will give you a broader perspective on the markets? And invest in well-governed startups and protocols and funds, which are going to ensure that your principal is safe and is being managed very prudently.
Sure. So this was Pranav's 3-point guide for you to handle the turbulence that you are seeing in the market, which is markets are cyclical, then understand market dynamics, and then focus on governance. And now we go to Rohas. Rohas, which are your 3 points? Of course, in previous episodes, you told us Rohas' way of identifying great coins, good coins. But what are your 3 points for our viewers to handle the turbulence?
Sure. So point number 1 would be don't enter the market. So if you are new to crypto, this is not a good time to enter. I would say wait it out a little more. And in the meanwhile, you can get free cryptos from airdrops, as well as there are a lot of learn and earn schemes where you learn about a new crypto, watch a video, take a quiz, get something free. So that's a good way to get started without actually putting your money. Point number 2, do not short Bitcoin. I want to really emphasize right now everything may be looking gloomy. People are saying Bitcoin will fall below 10,000, 1,000, doesn't matter what they say. There is a term in the crypto market called being Ash Drake. It is named after an investor, a trader called Ash Drake. Many years ago, when he was shorting Bitcoin, he completely went bankrupt. Ever since that day, we have the term. So I would say, no matter what you think, do not short Bitcoin.
So you would say it's still the largest cryptocurrency. So, you know, it will give you returns as the market picks.
Well, it's a very difficult thing to predict Bitcoin. None of the logic ever applies there. And you could end up losing huge if you try to short it. And the third one is, of course, look for solid projects. Like, I'm very happy some of the really good projects are right now available at a very low cost. So you could look at them, but just remember one thing. The project has to have a solid use case or a solid revenue model. Like if someone asks you, what does the project do? And you give the answer, I can stake the token. That is not an answer. What does it do? How does it create revenue or generate an economic impact? If you cannot answer that question, that's not a solid use case. So to summarize, the 3 points are, if you are new, this is not a good time to enter. Second, do not short Bitcoin. And the third is look for solid projects.